What's going on, everybody? This is Jose Ledesma. This is episode 31 of the Ignorant Shxt Only podcast. Unfortunately, I do not have my co-host with me, Kuya Flip, but for today's episode number 31, we have the one and only owner of Spotlight Hair Studios, and you opened your second location, Mr. Myron Miller, man. Clap it up for you, man.
One love, yeah.
Thank you for coming on, man. Appreciate
this
you.
This is actually the third location.
Third location.
Yeah,
okay, my bad. Location. That's my bad.
So
where's the other location?
Nobody never really knows, but I have the nail salon.
That's right, the nail salon, the ladies one.
The ladies spotlight.
That's right, the ladies spotlight.
You know, I try not to be too much involved.
Is that not involved. Also in?
It's in the same parking lot.
Okay.
But it's different suites. But I'm not really, because with women, you want to make sure that they have their own independence. I don't want to really come down and really bother them a lot because, it's a women. Nails is kind of women. I mean, I guess as a dude, you go in there and get your nails and feet done now and stuff too. But, those are mainly the women. So I kind of let those girls handle their thing out there. So Absolutely. That's why you don't really see it like, oh, big nails, So I kind of go for the barbershop hair industry right there.
Absolutely. And you're killing it, man. Like you said, you just opened up your new location. You're hiring out in this Carmichael area, right?
Carmichael
Fair
area.
Oaks Boulevard?
Yeah.
That's right, man. Congratulations.
Man, I appreciate
That's a day
you,
spa, right? It's not just like a regular barbershop.
So basically what it is just more or less for suites. So hiring for estheticians. At first I wasn't going to do a barbershop in there because, I just wanted to make it more of the female industry thing. But then I had this room that was so big and couldn't figure out what to do with it, man. So I was like, you know what? I was talking to a few of the guys that own other businesses in the area, and they said that they didn't have a barber. I mean, not like a barbershop, but they didn't have like more of the urban style barbershop in that area. And maybe it is, I don't know. But talking to a few of the owners around those different businesses, I was like, okay, well, maybe I should make this bigger room a barbershop. So it's mainly for estheticians, stylists, braiders, if they do waxing, facials, things like that. Just all in the beauty industry. So I'm hiring for everything in the beauty industry.
Absolutely. Where can people get a hold of you, man, to see if they can get a job?
Oh, yeah. They can always reach me at Spotlight Hair Studio. That's my Instagram, Facebook handle. Or you can always reach me. My phone number, 916-680-0910. Send me a message. I don't really answer a lot of calls because I get so many calls. I'm a busy man, so I will return your call, especially if you text me or leave a voicemail. So, yeah, that's how you get a hold of me.
Absolutely. So let's kind of take it to the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I know you because you have the shop right there on Vintage Park Drive.
Right.
I grew up in that area practically my whole life, so I've known that area my whole life. 28 years, about to be 29 years old in a couple weeks. But so when you first opened, obviously, like kind of what you were just saying a few minutes ago about the other owners in that different area, there wasn't really like a barbershop that really cleaned you up. Like you said, the word you use is urban style barbershop.
Yes.
So I think what's been dope about you being there in that area is like, not only is it a dope barbershop with dope barbers, cleaning people up, making people look good, feel good, play good, but also there's a community there.
Right.
Like you got the few times I go in there, I don't like, as y'all know, I don't really do that a lot. But when I do go, there's always hella kids in there. It's a big community. Everyone's in there having a great time. Talking, joking around, bullshit and whatnot, as barbershops do.
Right.
So what do you feel is like, as an owner, bringing that to that area specifically? How do you feel like that's built out the community so far? Like how do you think it's gotten to the point to where the community is really there and supporting on a regular basis?
Well, I feel like anytime you open up any business in someone else's community, you become a part of their community. So it's like you're the neighborhood store, you're the neighborhood pharmacy, you're the neighborhood anything. So whenever you go into a community, you want to try to build within that community and like hire in that community. If it's a diverse community, like I'm big on diversity, so I like to have different nationalities, especially in the barber industry now. Because growing up in the barber industry, it wasn't real diverse like that. You didn't see a lot of different nationalities in the urban style barbershop. And so I just wanted to bring that to that area because, El Grove, Sacramento is like one of the biggest diverse cities where everyone kind of get along and, they mingle together.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to bring that to that community. But my brother went to Sheldon High.
Okay.
He graduated in '02, and he was a basketball player. So, just growing up in that area, well, not growing up in that area because I'm from the Valley High area, but always being around that area, I always looked at that a lot like, man, they just really need a barbershop over here. So that's kind of what made me do it. And then just really the chance of luck, it was at a time where I didn't know if I was going to be in Sacramento or Atlanta because I had a lot of stuff going on. So one of my good buddies, he owns Max Muscle, Jeremiah. He had put a gym there, and he was like, hey, man, I got this location that you should come check it out. And I had been in Atlanta for a few months, and he, kept telling me, man, just come check it out. So a little bit later, I went and checked it, and I was like, man, I could probably do something with this. And so that's what made me do it. And then, like I said, since I already been in the barber industry, things like that, I just wanted to make it pop. So I knew I already had a little buzz, and, I'm pretty good with the clippers and things like that. So I had a group of barbers that was already in mind that I knew would come help me in this industry. So once I got those barbers, because they were all pretty good barbers at the shop they were at, I was like, I know if I open up a shop, these certain barbers are going to come. And I picked them for specific reasons. So when I did that, we actually came together and built that shop, man. It just really kind of took off. So
No, it definitely has.
Yeah. So I felt like that was like all in together what kind of made it go, and that's what made me want to go to that area, because I felt like I can bring my flavor to that area. And it wasn't no barber shops in that area. The closest one I think might have been In the Cut, and that was in Elk Grove, down on Elk Grove, Florida, kind of by Elk Grove High.
Yeah.
And then from there, the closest one I think might have been like a Fly Cuts, something on Florin, and I think another one was over there by the old, but by the Walmart on Florin was forgot the name of it. Anyway, there was another shop over there too, but those were like the two nearest shops that I felt like in that area was there. So I was like, okay, there's a big gap here, and if I open up something here, then I'll probably be cool for this community right here. So yeah.
No, absolutely. Like you said, there's a lot of space in between. So
Right.
you looked at it as an opportunity to fill that gap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So people ain't got to drive way over here or way
Right.
over there to go get their haircuts. They can just come right there to Circle K
Right.
area to go get that cut and go do what they got to do.
Right, and it was a growing community. Like that area is growing. They're always building there. So building up over there. Once you get into the community, then years and years from now, I feel like everything you build on the youth. So I targeted the schools, targeted the athletes. I would go to the schools. I would do the Wave Check Wednesdays. I would give away shirts. I would go. I do a half court spotlight half court free throw shot at the high schools and the games and the basketball games at Monterey Trails, and just to get the youth knowing about the shop and coming in the shop, and they get to see me, meet me, and be like, hey, what's up, Myron? I want to do the half court shot, or this shop is nice. And I brought in barbers that were some older, some younger, ex-coaches, players, things like that, to where the kids can relate. And I felt like if you can build through the youth, those clients stay there longer. They grow up.
And when you catch them, like you said, at an impressionable age, not only will they continue to stay around when they
Right.
get older, but then when they get their own kids or their own
Right.
families, then
They
you
bring
got
their
generations
friends,
coming
they
in.
bring everybody. So yeah, that's kind of what it was there, and it was a lot of high schools in that area. So you got Monterey Trails, you got Sheldon, Florin is kind of around the corner.
Yeah.
You got Pleasant Grove a little bit down the street, Elk Grove High. So it's like in that little area right there, you got a lot of different schools, and it's countless junior highs and elementary schools there. So I felt like that would be like the perfect area to do something like that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think, too, what you were kind of touching on is how you said you do stuff with the youth, like doing the half-court shot and all that. I think that's another part of what makes you in the shop amazing, is that you do work a lot of stuff with the youth or events
Right.
for the youth.
Right.
Like the most recent one that I remember is the one you did with Carl Granderson.
Oh, yeah.
Where you were giving out free haircuts.
Yeah.
And he came to the shop and, we took pictures with people and the whole
Yeah.
shebang. I mean, how does stuff like that happen? How do you, because I know not even just Carl Granderson, I've noticed that like a lot of athletes, come pull up on you and show your shop love, like Eric Armstead, Lawrence Butler, Devin Booker, like just dudes that grew up, in the area and really come fuck with you in the shop. Like, can you kind of share like how that has happened over the years?
Well, a lot of those guys I've been knowing before they even made it to the league and stuff like that, and just just being good people, man. As long as you're a good person, man, they like your cuts, they like what you do. I feel like being a good person overall, those are the ones that, so when they go back to the neighborhood to want to do things for a shop, or they want to do things for any type of business, they look at the people that they feel like gonna actually touch the kids or touch the youth, or if I'm gonna give something away, let me give it to somebody that I know that's gonna actually make sure that it's spread out right to the kids. So being with those type of dudes, that's how they look at, and that's how they look at me. So they like, well, I know mine. Then I'm a lot older than them, so it's like they know that since I've been around and I've been doing this even before the barber, because I've always did things like do turkey things, I always do backpack giveaways, whether I donate or I hold events myself. I've always done that because I believed in giving back to the youth, especially when you get to a certain level in life, or you don't even have to be rich for that or have nothing. Like, I feel like resources, being able to talk to people that can help you in those industries. So say like you having a backpack giveaway, I go talk to all of the people that I know that I feel like could or should donate to them, and then hey, look, let's come together and let's do this to make this thing a bigger, better what would you get, turnout. Yeah. So I think that's what it is. So these guys, they know that I'm a good man of my word, and know that I'll make sure that these things get spread out right. So, and that's why they come to my shop. They come in, hey, Ma, I'm coming into the shop, get my hair cut, and they know it's a safe environment, And then at the same time, it's a pretty big shop, so they see the kids like you. They come in, they see the family environment, and they like, okay, well, this is the type of place I grew up in. This is what I remember as being in the barbershop industry or whatever, get my hair cut like that. So I feel like it kind of makes them feel like, damn, this is at home type of situation. Like, this is what I remember as a kid. This is my community too, and my kind of keeping this going for us. So that's why I think they actually come on and look out for me, or say, hey, Ma, we want to choose you to do these giveaways and stuff like that, because it's already been there. I've already been doing it.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to those men, that want to,
yeah, shout out to y'all, man. That. I appreciate you guys, man.
Big Carl, man, I would love to have you on, man. I've been trying to get Lamar on here for a minute, but I know he's busy, so I'm going to try to get him as well eventually.
Man, I'll reach out to him, man, whenever they out, man. I'll see what I can do.
I appreciate you, man. So let's take it to the beginning, though, with you as a barber. Mm-hmm. Before Spotlight, before anything, where did your journey start as a barber? As a barber,
it really started young, really. Growing up, I have brothers, a lot of brothers, so I got two brothers, but then I got two that grew up with me. I got one that was like my older brother's best friend, and he grew up as a brother. And I had my mom's youngest brother that grew up with us as a brother too. So it was always 5 boys in the house. And, at that time, we couldn't really, moms can't afford 5 haircuts. I remember growing up in Oakland, we getting our hair cut at the barber college, and my grandfather come cut our hair, and they was doing straight bald heads. So I'm like, I don't want that.
Looking like a little Bill.
Right. And that's what hey, that's one of the ones I get too. You know what I'm saying? So growing up, I was like, man, I always been a fly dude. I always, cared about my look, cared about my appearance, things like that. So I was just like, I'm gonna cut my brother's hair. So I would cut my brother's hair. I cut my pop's hair.
And that was at how old, would you say?
I probably was at like maybe 13, 14.
Okay.
And I would cut their hair. And so it became something to where I kind of got good at, because, I wouldn't do nothing to them that I wouldn't do to myself. Like, I wanted them to look the best. Of course I wasn't the best, but I wanted them to look their best as far as those haircuts from those times. And what happened was I started getting more and more people to come through high school, because my brother was athletes and stuff. So they would have their friends come, and then before we start going out to the club or house parties, things like that, I would cut everybody's hair. And then eventually it became a thing where I would make money off of. So being young, I can take, my haircut money and do other stuff with it. You know what I mean? To make other money. Yeah. So it became one of those things. And then I just like being a part of my people. So that's kind of where I was able to network with my people and do a lot of stuff. So met a lot of people through barbering. So it kind of started young there. And then I never was a barber. Well, I would say I cut hair, but I didn't really take barbering serious until maybe I got about 27, 28. So I would use barbering to sponsor other stuff. So say if I need a little bit of money, I'll just pick up the clippers and cut some hair, my mom's garage or whatever. But I would always hear my other buddy barbers tell me, hey, you need to get your license and be in the shop. But I was doing so much other stuff that the barber money really wasn't
Right.
nothing
that was a side hustle.
Yeah, like a small side hustle. That was, something that I was doing because those people at that time really needed me. Like now they felt dependent on me. Like, you got to cut my hair. You got to cut my hair because they like my work. So it kind of really started there. And then I just started taking it serious. I had gotten into some trouble, and you know how it go, man. You break up with your girl and all of that. And so I broke up and, it was just one of those things where like I'm gonna just change my life sitting into that jailhouse. Like, man, I'm just gonna get out, get my license, get my life together. So that's what I ended up doing, and then really haven't looked back from there as far as the barbering part.
And what time was that when you was what I'm saying, you was gonna change your life, turn your life around, and take?
I probably might have been 27.
Oh no, I mean like the year. Do you remember the year?
That might have been 2000 and like maybe
2009,
2008, 2009, somewhere around there.
And then when you did get out, when you finally decided, hey, I'm going to make my life better than what it is right now, how did you go from just a guy who's getting his barber license, who's going to officially make that the main hustle, to now you own your own shop and you got your own money coming in and you got other people working for you, you got payroll, you got the whole thing. So I want to know that journey.
Okay, so with that, when I got to barbering, I knew I was good. First, I knew you had to be good to do it. I always wanted to own a shop, but I was doing so much other stuff, man. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if I could say a lot of stuff.
No, you can say whatever.
Okay,
we're not for kids, so you can say whatever the hell you want.
I was getting other money.
Yeah.
And so the barbering kind of was just like to make myself look like, okay, hey, he's a barber. But I had so much other stuff going on. I was getting money, man, and the barbering was more or less like a cover-up. So I didn't really know that I was going to open up a shop. I always knew if I did open up a shop that it was going to take off. So it was more or less one of those things of when I'm going to open it and where I'm going to open it up at. So I guess after, I say maybe about 7 years ago is when I decided to open up a shop. But that's because, I was kind of really getting tired of all of the other stuff.
Right.
I wasn't tired of the money now, don't get me wrong, but I was tired of everything that came with it, the moving around and traveling, like things like that. And I was like, if once I figured out that my kids weren't going to move with me because I was going to move to Atlanta, once I figured out that, hey, my kids won't be able to move with me, I was like, you know what, let me just build something here. Forget it. I'm going to just do this. They getting older. I don't want them to think that, Pops only does this or, because I tried to hide that life from them, especially with my older son getting older and start going into high school. I didn't want him to see his dad doing that. Like, Dad, where's all this money coming from? And, you
wanted to go legitimate.
I'm not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I opened up that shop, and then that's kind of what made me want to open up that. But as far as like, I've always been a leader. I always been like, any job I ever went to, ever had, like I've always became a boss, foreman, anything like that. I guess I got that leadership quality in me, so I know how to get people to work for me. Not work, I ain't gonna say for me. I know how to get people to work with me.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? I know how I'm a morale booster. I know how to bring out the best in people, So I felt like once I opened that up anyway, it was going to take off because I already had those qualities. And and I'm talking about from a kid, I've always been like the leader of whatever I had going on. I've been making sure that everything is cool. I was the go-to guy for the decisions and like, what do you think? And what's this? So I knew that just with that, the responsibilities like that, like the things that I say and the things that I do like would influence everybody else. So you knew you had to guide people in the right way. So I was able to look at every different aspect of everything. And I felt like that's why I was successful in the streets and in barbering and any other job that I had. Because I did construction jobs. I worked for AT&T, jobs like that. But like I said, I've always been the boss. And I would become the boss that fast because the main guy would see me and be like, okay, he's more than just a worker. Like he he should be in a higher position. So I've always like elevated fast. It wouldn't even take a year and I'm already foreman, or I'm already a lead, or I'm already a supervisor, things like that. So when I opened up the shop, I just brought those same qualities. And even in the streets, it's the same thing. I've never been the one that, I'm going to you, you'll be able to come to me. So I always been that person. So when I opened up the shop, it's kind of really the same way. I just took those qualities and then I just got the same guys to work with me instead of for me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you build a strong team and then you guys can make money. So the barbering industry kind of came the same way. So once I figured out that I was going to be back in Sacramento permanently, then that's when, I opened up a shop. And that was like 2019.
19?
Yeah.
Okay, so then that brings me to another thing then too, because if you open in 2019, we know what happens shortly after 2019. COVID, right? And I think one of the things that is like a hot topic to touch on or to talk about when it comes to barbering specifically is the price jumps that happened during COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So people, I don't know if this is like a hot topic within the barbering community because I'm not in that, but I know obviously the price jump happens because people are losing jobs. People are not really getting their money through their regular jobs or whatever their financial situation may have been, considering the lockdowns were happening. People weren't able to go outside. People weren't able to do nothing, but they still want to look good. So then they go to barbers, obviously, like they've been doing before, but then obviously whatever the barbershop situation not being open, or maybe they have to cut in their garages now or in the backyards. Obviously that means, something that's not what was the word they used during COVID? They said it was an
essential.
Essential. There you go.
Yeah.
So something like haircutting isn't really essential, but people want to still go, especially with the stimulus checks that people were getting, or the PP loans that people were getting.
Yeah.
They still want to look good.
Right.
So obviously at that point, supply and demand, the demand goes way high, and the supply may not be there because people are still trying to find other ways to make money.
Right.
Money-wise, you go from maybe a cut that could be $25, $30 to then it jumps to $50, $60.
Right.
Maybe for some people, like I said, I'm just assuming here, maybe some people might be like, hey, prices haven't really like went back down after COVID. People have kind of kept those prices, and maybe some people are even more expensive, especially if they got like a really high-end clientele.
Right.
Can you kind of speak on like criticisms people might have of that?
Okay, it's a lot of different ways to look at that, right? But being in the industry, this is how I feel more or less that situation happened, right? So when they say barbering is not essential, I feel like it is essential because, when you go to the state board, the main thing they teach you is safety and sanitation. It's not really about the haircut. I've seen people pass the state exam and had shaves that weren't complete, haircuts that didn't look right. They just were looking for the technique, but what they were more looking for is how clean you are. What happens if you drop a tool, and like how do you sanitize that? Things like that. So our industry is built on being clean, safe, and sanitary, right? So when you say the price jump, right? This how I feel about that, right? Because in the barbershop industry before COVID, right, you had people that would go in the shop and they would wait for walk-ins, right? I would be a walk-in, I might sit in there 4 or 5 hour. Barbershop was an all-day thing. Mm-hmm. It was more about being in the community, being a part of the
bullshit, the chopping it up.
Yeah, and then it was current events. That's when you find out what's going on today. What club you going to? Is there a park event? Is there a barbecue? What place is doing this? What time did the game come on? What time to fight? So it was more or less like an all-day experience. Now you have more clients because of COVID that want to get in and out. Mm-hmm. People, time became real important to them. So it's like, all right, instead of me waiting in the shop all day, I want to book an appointment. So far as a barber, right, for me to give you an appointment when I'm used to walk-ins coming in, it's like you would have to, of course, pay more for an appointment because appointment, you're blocking off these times for people that actually could be in here cutting at this time. So I feel like that's one big thing. To me, I feel like the clients boosted up the price. It wasn't the barbers.
Okay.
It was the appointments because you want to get in and out. So you'll pay more for the appointments because, you had the hot seat back in the days where it was like you pay to skip the line if you want to get in and out because you didn't want to wait. So they had a thing called the hot seat, and that would make a lot of clients mad because they felt like, hey, this person is skipping, but it's like they're paying more. So, okay, what can I do to pay more? Let me book an appointment. So that's
domino effect.
That's true. Another thing, too, is like we were talking about earlier, the culture of barbering's changed. So when you would go to the barbershop, especially an urban barbershop, not too long ago, it wasn't every nationality in there. So you would see more or less like the black, the Latinos, they would come into the shop. And that was kind of really it, it was like the white people or the Indian, they went to more the super cuts. They were more shears. They called our cuts buzz cuts. So once they seen the fade technique and they started, the young kids grew up and they wanted that blend. They like that blend. They like how that looked. They like to use gel. They like comb over. So they, in order to get that fade or that blend like that, they would go more to the urban shops. So when you go to the urban shops, right, you have different type of hair textures that take longer. So it's like, okay, instead of you getting a quick taper or fade or all even in a line or fade, the cuts became more detailed. So now you're doing fade, shears, you're doing all of this work, and you want to get your hair styled. You want to get certain things to where it's like that's not going to take 15 minutes like as you go to supercut to do because it's more detailed. So those
there's craftsmanship
that come with that. The blend, doing the razors, you want certain shaves. Those things I felt like boosted the price, because when it's like say the haircuts back then, a taper wasn't even really like as defined as it is now. A taper you just kind of knock off the tips to blend in with the face being bald. Now the taper is more defined. You got high taper, low taper, mid taper. I never even it was just a taper, So the cuts are more detailed now. Everybody wants the razor line. Everybody wants enhancements, and even if you don't want enhancement, things like that, you still want a haircut where your line is crisp, it's crooked, it's off, it's off a little bit. Back then, a lot of people didn't even care about the line being even. They just didn't want to get pushed back, because some people liked it the baby hair look. Some people liked it the natural line. So the lines weren't as defined. So now everything is more, technical, more, surgical. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I feel like that's what brought the industry up, It's more different
there's artistry
cultures in it. Yeah, and there's
Yeah.
different cultures into the shop now. You got different style barbers. Like I don't remember no Indian barbers. I don't really remember white barbers or even a lot of Latin barbers in the black shops like that. It was just the black shop, or then you can go to a
Korean
Latin
shop.
or a Korean shop, or you can go to Supercuts for the different hair. So now everybody's all in one. So of course that brings it up, the price up. So I don't feel like it's more or less the barber. I felt like the client's demands made the price go up. If you ask me.
No. I agree with that because, like you said, if there's so many more different varieties of people with different hair textures coming in, all looking to get the same thing, but like you said, different hair textures might take longer. Of course, that means what? Supply and demand.
Right.
So the demand is way up here now.
On top of the appointments and things like that.
Yeah, because you guys got websites and apps where people, like you said, can make your appointments, or even if they want more than just a haircut. Like I know there's some people that might do like the whole hot towel and the massage and hair scalp treatment or all types of stuff.
Right.
So it's much more like selling an experience than just coming in and getting your 10-15 minute haircut, get out the door, go to church or wherever you're going.
Now I do agree that there's some barbers that do overcharge, and I feel like in any industry, right, whether you a doctor, nurse, whatever, right, the person that's coming in, like even a construction, you should never come in making as much as the journeyman. Right. So if I got 20 years experience and it doesn't matter about how good I am or anything like that, I just seen more heads than you. I see more texture than you. I see more styles than you. My knowledge, being clean, being sanitary, knowing how to do certain things. Now, after COVID, everybody, they looked at the barber, okay, well, they make money. They see the cash flow and they don't really see, that you got to pay for your own health care insurance. You have to pay for all of these things. So they just see the cash you're making. And like, this is fun. You guys just hang out, cut people hair, and just watch TV all day. I want to do it. This is what I should be doing. And I should be making just as much as you. I'm better than you. I've been at that level as you. So I see you're charging $40. I need to charge $40. Matter of fact, my haircuts look better than you. I need to charge $50. And then no industry does a doctor that first come out his first year of being a doctor is going to make the money of the 20-year doctor. So I feel like that changed the industry. And also the schools. The schools now, they care more about the money. At first, it was about, $2,500. I think it was $2,500 to $5,000 to get your barber's license, Barber Cosmo license. Now it's, they getting financial aid and all of that, but they're not guiding these barbers or stylists in the right direction. So not every barber should go into a barbershop where you're making commission, or you shouldn't go straight to a barbershop where you pay booth rent. It's like some barbers are made for booth rent because you got good clientele. You're actually good enough to do that and pay rent. And then some barbers, when they come out of school, they're not good to be paying booth rent. So you go in there with this expectation of, I'm going to go in this shop, I'm going to make $50 a cut. If I work 8 hours, I can make this, and you count your eggs before they hatch. And then you end up being a truck driver a year later. So then you have the industry looking bad with that. A lot of barbers aren't barbers. They're just here because they see the cash transaction.
Yeah.
And that's not, I feel like, that's kind of what's killing the industry. But and I can't even really say killing it because it's growing, but it makes the clients look at us like that. And I'm for the client because we're a service industry. We serve the client. We doing what you want to do. That haircut, even if you don't want your line straight and you want it to be natural line, like, we should do what the client want. You shouldn't tell a client, like, I think it look better like this. I think you can give them that advice, but if the client says, hey, this is what I want, you should do what they want, And now in this industry, it seems like barbers are doing what they want with clients and making them feel bad about, you can't afford it, or you can't do this, or you're broke, or I'm not going to change my prices, I'm not going to do that. You can do all of that you want to as a barber, right? But at the end of the day, you have to make sure you're worth that. Make sure your experience is there. You know what I mean? Build yourself to that level. And it's a lot of guys that come out that's not at that, but they have that type of mentality. And that's what make the clients feel like, well, you know what? You barbers aren't cool. You guys are cocky. You guys are trying to rip off the people. And, that's what turned people into saying, hey, I want to just cut my hair myself. Or I'll go to somebody that's not a barber that's cutting hair at home and, risk certain diseases and stuff like that because they don't know the proper way to clean, sanitize their tools. And, you'll risk those things because of those barbers that are like that. And because of the barbershop now, they want the money, the booth rent money, because they think like, okay, because a lot of owners can't actually, sustain that shop without those booth renters because they're not good. They're not at there. So they have to get people to rent those booths out in order for them to make money or feel like they something. That's why you got a lot of shops opening and closing, or they're not as successful because that's something that I feel like you're targeting the client, or you going after the booth renters for their money, and you want to up their booth rent real high so that, it can cover your money and whatever you can't do, so that you can feel like you're the boss. So you're the boss and you're not working with your crew. And I feel like kind of that's what kills the industry when it comes to that. So when you say prices getting raised, there's a lot of things that do it. And I don't believe or feel that a lot of barbers are worth the prices that they charge, But hey, if they got the clientele for it and they got the people that's going to pay, that's cool. But to me, it's ultimately up to the client. You guys dictate everything.
Absolutely. I think people forget that too, is like, if anything's too expensive for you, you don't have to get it. You don't have to pay it. Like, and that's with any industry. That's with television. That's with video games. That's with computers. That's literally anything. If you want to buy some, you as a customer, where your dollar goes is where the industry's going to go. If people stop buying haircuts tomorrow, well, guess what? About more than half of those barbers are going to stop barbering and go do something else with their life. Right. So it's just all about, like what we're talking about, just where the money goes.
Right.
So if Tom, Dick, and Harry see that everyone, like you was saying earlier, is getting $40, $50 a haircut, well, no wonder why everybody want to go to barber school and cut hair. Because like you said, all they see is cash, but they don't see the work that they got to put in, especially the higher end barbers like yourself, or the fact that it's really all your own money up front too. Because you as a barber, like, sure, I could probably have a lot of clients, but you said there's no health insurance in that. Yep. You got to cover yourself.
Yep.
And if I fuck up, it's not on the shop, it's on me. Because I'm the one with the shit cutting the person's hair. I mean, making sure they look good. And if I fuck up, well, shit, maybe they can go online and say the shop, but it's really on me. Because I'm the one who's doing it. It's my responsibility.
And that's another thing, too. Like, so far as the clients, like, we're, like, the most talked about industry when it comes to, like, what we should and what we shouldn't charge far as the haircut industry. And that's really not fair, because then, like, you shame a lot of barbers for just that small group and those influencers. Most of those influencers probably aren't doing as good as you think they are. They need those platforms in order to make that extra money. You go to a lot of those guys, they not the best barbers. You know, a lot of those guys haven't even been cutting probably 10 years, you know, and to me 10 years is short. Because COVID was just, what,
5 years ago.
Just, you know what I'm saying? 5 years ago. 10 years ago really isn't nothing in the barber industry, because you haven't seen it when the barbershop was the barbershop, when it was part of being in the culture. The barbers I respect are the 15, 20-year-old barbers that been in the industry, because they actually seen that. They seen and they know the love of the being in the community, and when the people pull up, and, you know, your clients coming in 2 times a week and things like that. So those are the barbers. They come out there and they got the barbecue plates, or, you know, you find anything in a barbershop. Hey, somebody's selling shoes. Hey, ain't he baking pies? Y'all want some pies? And, you know, we were like one of the main cornerstones in those communities, you know, and now it's not about that. Now it's about being on your appointment on time, being in here. So when you go to shops, they don't have a shop feel. It's not like a community feel. And that's what I think with any
field. I think with any field too is like, that difference between feeling corporate and feeling natural, or you know what I mean, community based. Like, when you come into, like, when you go visit someone's house, you know what I mean, are you gonna feel awkward when you walk in that door? You know what I mean, they're not really greeting you like they should, or you know what I mean, or maybe the way that their living room look a little awkward, you know what I mean, just whatever. Versus going in and you got, you know what I mean, they're coming in, they're dapping you up or giving you a hug, and making you feel like you're at home. So I think that's the cool thing that I've always noticed, even as a kid with barbershops, is like, when you're at a good barbershop, you for surely like get that energy of like, oh, okay, we're just homies kicking it, talking shit.
That's why I say, like, going into a suite, like, and that's another thing with suites. Yeah, I mean, suites are good for some people because, you know, maybe they, you know, don't really like dealing with people, or they don't like the shop industry. But I feel like that's, like, you kill off the shop like that. You know, the shop is supposed to be, you know, you're supposed to let people, like, see you in the live, in the flesh. Let people see you. Let people see your ups and your downs. You know, you're supposed to help people go through things. Like, you can't be a good barber, a great barber, and being in a suite and then not let people see just the real you. They only seeing what they see of you online. So they don't know how you are, like, how's your personality. Then when you go book with this person in this suite, it's an uncomfortable feeling. You know what I mean? As to where you come into a shop and you be like, hey man, you go to my shop, man, my hella cool. He, you know, they be in there doing this, they be having barbecues, the music is cool and all of that. You gonna get whatever you get from the barbershop. And depending on the shop owner, it kind of depends on the how the traffic get, you know, what's that word I'm looking for? Like, basically the environment, making the environment good. I feel like if you're a good owner, good leader, all of that, and you got control of your shop, got control of what's going on, then you can dictate the flow of everything in there. And that's what I try to build my shop on. That's why it's like no problem. I don't have a high turnover of barbers. I'm fair with the barbers. I'm fair with the clients. You know, one thing I don't do is I don't put a cap on my barbers' prices. So you'll never come in my shop and be like, okay, this is just the permanent price or none of that. Nah, because certain barbers been here and they've been doing it for a while. So they might want to charge this. Their clientele might be based on a $30. They clientele might be based on a $50 or whatever it is. So I don't try to cap them off and be like, oh, this is one price, one thing. Nah, you come up in here, you pick what you want, you see the personalities you want. Everybody's fun. Everybody's like have that comfortable feeling, like down to earth, and that's kind of what I go for. So when you come into those shops, like, that's what I believe that they should be. It should be like that, and not saying, hey, let me go into a suite and I just book with you and So what's your name and how's this and all that? That's, to me, that's scripted. You know, let a person get the real you. Let them hear about you. Let other barbers and clients talk about you and say, hey man, he's a good guy, man. We was at the shop and I got to see him and I was here. Like, people want to, like, you want to see your idols or your people like live in the flesh. You want to see them in work. You, even if you're not getting cut by them. I remember going into the shop as a kid and you had to work your way to those great barbers. You know what I mean? You sitting over there getting cut and you was like, man, I like his shoes, man. He always got some cool shoes. But you might be getting cut by the guy in the front that's, you know, he just cutting, you might be messing you up and all that, but eventually you get to work your way and find out who you really want to get cut by. Because you might go in that suite and you might not like the cut, you know? And a lot of those barbers aren't ready for suites. So, you know, I'm not a fan of killing off the barber industry because our culture is supposed to be something that's for the community and for the people, you know.
Absolutely. And I think when you're in like you said, a service industry and you're dealing with people and other people's personalities and the whole thing, it's all about finding that connectivity.
Right.
Because that's how you then gain more people, more customers,
right,
more people to want to work for you. It's all a
right.
cause and effect situation. Mm-hmm. Now back to COVID a little bit. Obviously, with everything having to shut down, I can imagine it had to have been tough to keep the shop open when everything was shut down. Can you kind of speak on like the challenges?
So when I opened up my shop, COVID happened maybe like 3 or 4 months later.
Crazy.
I didn't even know, you know, to me, it was like, okay, well, I guess it's going to be a week. I guess it's going to be a 2 week. And it went so long. But I had a lot of help from a lot of the sheriffs in the county because, you know, maybe I shouldn't say what they said, but, you know, they kind of will support me, right? But what I did that I felt like I kind of changed the game with that I think I probably helped a lot of shops do is I figured out how to separate the stations, right? So with my shop, what I did was, and it was so simple, right? You know, being like Blank Man, you know, coming from the hood, you know what I'm saying?
I fucking love that movie.
You know what I'm saying? Just figuring it out, right? What I did was I took these shower curtain rods, right? And you know how they're plastic?
Yeah.
What I did was I put shower curtains up in between the stations, and then I put the plastic curtains up so it gave people their own personal space. So when the health department and the state board came in, they seen my shop and they seen like, hey, you know, you're not supposed to be open and this is going on, that's going on. Plus we kind of were doing like little appointments, things like that. Now one thing I didn't do is I didn't charge my guys booth rent. You know what I mean? During COVID, I did not charge them booth rent. And, you know, because like I said, like coming into it, I had some money myself. I was already financially cool. So I can thug it out. And mind you, I still had to pay all my bills. Child support was still due. You know what I'm saying?
You got the rent of the building, electricity.
All of that. The rent. But you know what? A lot of people didn't pay. I paid. You know, and a lot of people went out of business. Right. A lot of people didn't pay and I paid. I didn't get no loans or anything to help me pay. It wasn't none of that. I for one, I didn't know how to do it, and then for two, I just I didn't want to take no risks. I didn't want to like build all this stuff and then I get kicked out because my rent wasn't paid for or nothing like that. So man, just when they came in the health department and the people seeing that, they was like, you know, you're not supposed to be open right now, and this is this and this and that. And I had one of the curtains pulled back. And so when the health inspector came in, I said, well, what if I do this? And I pulled the plastic curtain up. He looked and he was like, well, I guess you can work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this, you know, you creative. You know what I mean? So I never seen nothing like this. So then I went online and then I posted kind of like what I did. And then I noticed that a few other shops kind of did the same thing. And I was like, yeah, that kind of helped us out, you know, because they wanted us to be a certain amount of space away from each other.
6 feet apart and all that.
Yeah, something like that. So that kind of did that for them. And then, you know, like I said, we're safety, sanitation, all of that. So clean off the thing, spread with the lights off. I kept all of that going. I put hand sanitizer by every station. But we're barbers. We're supposed to be clean. You know, you're supposed to clean and do all these things with your tools anyway. But I feel like since they said COVID started in the nail shop, I think that's what made them target the beauty industry real hard. So we were kind of like, I think they had the tiers. We were like on the 4th tier, and then after us, it was like gyms. So they kind of like we were getting played, but then it was like government officials trying to get cut. It was still sheriffs that want to get cut. It's still people that they like athletes. They like shit. You know, I'm coming in
Because people
man.
still want to look
care.
good, man. At the end of the day, no matter what's going on in the world around them, they still want to look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I made it to where like we all can work and all my barbers can take care of their families and stuff. And I feel like because of that, a lot of them, they, you know, I rode out the storm with them. They, you know, they feel like, you know what, man, this is a good dude to work with, man. I like him, so I'm gonna thug it out. Like we gonna build this shop. And then what happened was even after that, so I grew after that. So after COVID, the owner of the property came in and he was like, "Damn, Maya, you got a lot going on. This shop is nice, like it's big, but you seem like you're crowded in here because the shop was like real busy. You remember the first location?" And so he said, "I have another location like up the way." And then I was like, you know what? Let me take a look at it. And I seen it. It was an old dentist office. It was like a dentist or a doctor's office, like one of those private practices. And I want to say I've never seen it before, but I think I'm the first barbershop, I say for sure in Sacramento, that had the suites and the salon. I mean, the suite and the shop together. So when I seen those rooms, I was like, okay, I can actually have suites for barbers, but they can still be able to take walk-ins. The barbers that, you know, more high-end want to take their clients and not have the barber shop experience, but still be a part of the barber shop. So I seen that. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to move down here. Built that shop up, was paying both rents while I was working on one, still taking clients, built that up. And now, you know, I'm like 23 barbers and stylists deep at this spot, grew to a double-sided space and all of that. So, and it's cool. And my barbers and stylists been with me, most of them for the past six years. So
the whole time, basically.
The whole time, yeah. You see a lot of the same faces,
a few
new faces and stuff. But, you know, that's because we grew. So we had to get new people. So, yeah, but the main core is still there.
Man, shout out to you then, man, because, I mean, it all starts with you at the end of the day, being the boss. You know what I mean? Whether shit go left or shit go right, it all come down to you.
Yeah.
So that's just a testament to you making sure everything was right at a tough time for everybody.
Yeah.
And to where now you're expanded to where you could do all types of shit with your shop.
Right.
And now you got another one. So it's like you're just ever expanding, ever growing. So congratulations to you on that.
Lot.
That's beautiful, man. So when it comes to hiring barbers, when people want to come to you, like, hey, let me work for you, boss, you know what I mean? Or let me work over there, or let me work over there. What is the qualities or the criteria that you look for when you're hiring either a stylist or a barber? Either one.
I have a few different things that I look for, right? So I look for somebody to be like different. You know, I look for somebody that bring their own different their own different energy into it. So I like different artists because barbering and hair and it's just an art. So I like people that are different, you know. I'm diverse. I'm big on diversity. You know, I have different nationalities working there because I want everybody to feel comfortable. Like I said, it's Elk Grove, so I need you to be able to cut all different style hairs, whether you black, white, Mexican, Indian, whatever. I need you to be able to mingle with all cultures. So I'm looking for somebody that's has a good personality, somebody that's like welcoming, you know, that has good vibe, good energy. I look at your work, you know, because I don't want nobody that's going to be messing people up and bring state board into the shop. You know, of course, you got to have your license, things like that. I take chances on some apprentice depending. Like now, I kind of maybe won't right now, but I've taken chances on apprentice because I you know, I'm big on helping the youth. But I'm looking for somebody that's pretty much that's good, that's clean, that I like experience. I like you to have some type of clientele so that you can build too. Because if you have some type of clientele and then the clients walk in and they can see, okay, well, you know, you can cut or you can do this. You know, you are pretty good. And then you can build off of that. You know, so I look for experience, but it don't have to be a lot of experience. I look for some experience. You know, I like if you got to have, like I said, your style. You got to be able to dress. You got to have something that says I'm a barber about you. You know, you got to be able to communicate with people. Good attitude, like, you know, you got to work well with others. Things like that. Things that, because like I said, we're in a community where people come in. You got to know how to deal with problems. You know, you got to be a problem solver. You got to be able to make sure people feel comfortable in the environment. You know, welcoming, all of that. So I look for more of that over anything, and then having some type of talent. You got to be good with what you do, and you got to be able to cut all hair. So when I'm looking for barbers, that's kind of really what I'm hiring with. And I'm picky with that too, because you got to be able to get along with the barbers that I got. And when you come in, I let the other barbers, because I put you on a 30-day run. And so what I'll do is with the other barbers and stylists there, I say, hey, what you guys think about this person after those days are up? Do you think they good? Do you think they fit? And if I had clients, my barbers that said, no, I don't think it's going to work. And then I'll say, hey, look at you, didn't work out. But most of the guys, I want them to know, like, hey, treat them like how I treated you when you first came in. So I always go to bringing them back to that, uphold the standard. So based on I'm super busy and I got a lot going on too, I can't watch everything. So I depend on my guys to have my back. And if you build it like that, they will. The girls, I'm not the police, so be able to tell me, be able to communicate with me. You don't have to hide things or, oh, the boss is coming and all that. Nah, like, let me know so that we can keep this going and keep it, working and being sufficient. And so when I'm hiring, I'm looking for people that's like that, people that want to grow, that love their craft, not people that's trying to do it for the money, because I don't want nobody trying to get over on the clients, because I look at the clients like these are my people. So I look at my clients just like I look at you. And anybody that ever been in my shop, I greet everybody that come in. All my barbers and stylists, when I walk in the shop, I say hi to everybody. You know what I'm saying? How you doing? Hey, I like that shirt. You looking good today. Try to get that morale going so they can be like, my cool, And those are the things that I'm going for, when I'm hiring people that are the same. Come in the shop, greet your people, let them know you here, be a team player, sweep up. You ain't got to just sweep up your station. We all sweep up for each other. We all take out the trash. We all clean up the bathroom. Things like that. We all washing towels. So I'm looking for people that work good with each other and family oriented. I'm big on family. I don't mind kids being in the shop. That's who I seen growing up in the shop. Some of the barbers, some of the stylists' kids. I believe in family. I don't want nobody, because if you don't rock with your family, I don't think that you'll rock with this family. So those are the type of things that I'm looking for when I'm hiring barbers and stylists right there.
Now, when it comes to hairstylists, obviously that's different field because you're more so dealing with women than men compared to barbers and all that. Right. What is that like, being the boss of not only just barbers and mostly men, because obviously women cut hair too, but when it comes to the other side of it, like you said, the nails or the hairstylist, like what is that like? Different sides of being the boss of two different styles of doing hair. How does that like differentiate talking to a barber versus talking to a hairstylist or a nail stylist?
Yeah, well, of course you're gonna be easier on the girls, right? You know what I'm saying? They girls, you care about their feelings more. They go through more. They have other issues. They mothers, things like that. So you always want to be a little bit more fragile with them, but then still like making sure that they, know that they're here and this is a job first. So even when hiring them, I kind of look for the same things. But for women, they're kind of easier than the guys, because with guys, the barbers, sometimes they have super big egos. Yeah. And especially if you're good, you think you're good and all that. Most of my barbers have big egos. So, it's kind of hard to maintain like the order of that in the shop. But you would have to be like a man amongst men to do that, and I feel like I am that. And I feel like the women kind of gonna go with that. If they see me running that like that, then they'll kind of fall in line, because women are more easier to go with. If they see that, okay, some structure, some rules, the guys look out for the girls, Myron looks out for the girls, he takes care of our clients. Like, I walk the girls to the rooms. I'm big on like, don't disrespect the girls, don't disrespect the female client. This is other people's money. You wouldn't want nobody being with your mom or talking to your mom Absolutely. Like that, your sister and all that. So I put these type of things in their minds so that the girls feel comfortable. So really with the girls, it's kind of easier, because they come in and they see what I got going on and they're helpful. They want to, like, I don't know what it is about women. Like, they'll come in and, they'll make it better. They'll give you that woman homely feel. And so I feel like with the girls, man, like, they kind of been like a big role of that. And it's kind of with the new way that people do hair, you have dreads and braids. So they get the hair lined up from barbers. So I kind of feel like it hits hand in hand. And the way my shop is built, I have the girls in suites, and so the barbers are on the floor, but the ladies are all in suites. So they instantly go to their room, but if they come out, they come out. And you see them walk out, whatever. A lot of them come out and they're like, "Okay, I see you, girl. You doing your thing." Just being more of a confidence giver. You know what I'm saying? Give them that confidence and make them feel comfortable and stuff like that. So, I felt like as long as you're cool, and as long as the owner, they see the owner not being one of those guys that are, chicken hawking the girls or hey, drooling, you know what I'm saying, Pepe Le Pewing,
Doing
then,
too much.
yeah, you can't do too much, and they kind of they gonna go rock with the program. So, yeah.
Now, obviously, fades, tapers, all that stuff is all going to be the same for the most part.
Right.
But like, if there is a certain trend going on with cutting hair, like how do you feel like you stay ahead of the curve when it comes to whatever the new trend is at the time, or maybe being ahead of the curve and maybe coming up with some of your own that might people fuck with? You know what I mean? Like, how do you basically, what I'm getting at is like, how do you find a way to stay ahead of everything, whether it be trends, whether it be styles, hairstyles, technique styles. I mean, how is it that you, or maybe even just the other barbers in your shop, find a way to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to competition?
Well, I feel like barbers create that. You know what I'm saying? Barbers and stylists create that. So it just come with it. There's always going to be something different. Okay, so let's just say I remember when the mohawks and the frohawks and the comb overs really became big. Those things, I feel like if you're just a good barber and you can do all different styles, man, like just put your twist on it. We artists at the end of the day. We're no different from a tattoo artist, a painter. We just painting it with clippers. You know what I mean? We putting what you want in your mind onto your look, your style onto you. So I feel like that's just part of what we do anyway. We already artists, so we create that. We the beginning of that culture, because we can make you look good and feel good, or we can make you look bad and feel shitty. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where you just go to your preference of barber. So yeah, we the artists of that. We create that culture.
Absolutely. Now this is kind of the same question, but in two different formats, if that makes sense. So, two special moments that you can think of that really pop out in your head as a barber slash barbershop owner, and then like a favorite moment you've had when you've done the outreach, when you've done the events, you know what I mean, or the fundraisers, charity events. Mm-hmm. So those two separate things, what has been like in those two separate instances has been your favorite moments you've experienced so far in this life you've lived?
I feel like in doing like the giveaways, like for me, I'm more of a giver, right? So it's kind of the same. Like I'll be happy with my people happy, and that's why I've always done good, whether it's been in the streets or whatever, because I always took care of my people first, because I'm always gonna be fine. I'm always gonna be okay. Like I always looked at it like that. If you take care of the people that's there that really need it, then you're gonna be cool. Like I get happy off seeing that smile on your face. So whether I'm doing a backpack drive or we're doing charity games or we're doing giveaways, anything that we do, whether I'm going to do the half court shot, I'd be more happy for the people that's receiving those gifts and receiving those blessings than actually doing it. So I feel like everything with me, I'm happy if I can make you smile. You know what I mean? Because I'll take a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that you give me, and I appreciate that, and I always remember that. Man, I remember when I was hungry and I got that peanut butter and jelly sandwich from him. So I look at things like that, because especially where I came from and how I grew up. When you grow up and it wasn't much there, and you learned how to be your brother's keeper, learned how to share, learned how to be, that type of person. And then you start to have a little bit. It don't even have to be much, because I'm not rich by far, but I feel like the good deeds and stuff that I do throughout my life and I've done is like better than any of those riches. So I get happy off of, and I find my joy out of seeing that in other people, because those kids grow up one day and they'll remember that. Those will be the stories that they talk about. I get that all the time. I remember when you did this for me, and that was the best day of my life. Like, and I can go, it's countless stories of that, and people I probably don't even remember, like a lot of names, faces. I'd be like, damn, you remember that? And I don't, but I know I changed somebody's, day that day. I made them feel good, and they're gonna always look at me like that. So,
Absolutely. What would you say is, because we talked about earlier about how barber schools don't really set up barbers necessarily for success,
Right.
right? So, with the way you are, it gets me thinking: is there ever a possibility that Myron Miller gets his own barber school going?
Man, that's a lot of work.
That's a lot
I'm
of
not gonna
work.
lie, that's a lot of work. I mean, it could be like, I just got to build a team for that, because like I said, even for me, it's still like a learning curve, and everything that I'm doing with me. It's no loans, it's no help, it's no none of that. So everything that I got is pretty much off me funding it, me doing everything, my time, my effort. So it become overwhelming, right? And one thing I know about having like schools and stuff like that is like, say we kill a cow, right? And we kill this cow, and you know, you can do the leather, you can preserve the meat, we can take the bones, make tools. Like, we can do more as a collective than me doing that by myself and letting a lot of that cow go to waste, right? So right now it's just me. So I feel like a lot of it would go to waste, and I extend myself. So hopefully one of these days I can get, like, you know what I mean, enough help, or just even like, like if I had the money, to do it, oh yeah, I would do it, easily, because I feel like in that industry, I think I would do more than being a barbershop owner. I still love being behind the chair, but I feel like I can help students more by, having a school. So that's something that I always wanted to do. But man, with the time and everything that I got going on, like, it's hard.
I can imagine. I mean, I be whenever I do see you on like social media and shit, you're always on the move. Mm-hmm. You're always doing something, so I completely understand. Yeah. I think the reason why I think that though is because like how you're describing yourself as a man, the way you move, the way you do things, how you're always for the people in the community. I feel like, I don't know, that's just like a hand in hand situation.
It is.
So hopefully one day, whether that be 5, 10, 20 years from now, hopefully one day in the future.
Hopefully soon, right?
Yeah, hopefully soon we get to see that. You know what I mean? Because I think the way you think and the way you process about how things should be, especially from a teaching standpoint, I think it only makes sense.
No, it does. It does. I do. I'm gonna definitely think about it. I just got to get with the right people. Hopefully this interview will get me with some of the good right people, and we can put something together like that. Because I know that there's people out there that have my vision, but you got to have people that got the same vision that you have, that want to see something like that, and not look at it as a financial thing. Because I'm not doing it really for the money. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm doing it really to help people, because I know the money gonna come with it. So that's how you become rich, or you become rich within yourself, though, because you don't have to be rich, like money rich. You can be rich and just be able to take care of yourself, have your stuff going the way you want to, but then have these people that you actually look out for, like be a happy man, walk with your head up throughout life. So yeah, man, I definitely would love to open up a school, man. I would, but I just got to slow my life down a little bit. I got to figure it out, especially with my youngest son, helping my oldest son get himself together, which he's doing fine now. My youngest son, he's 15, finna be 16. I got to start getting him ready for life, and then, being in a relationship with wifey, you know what I mean? Like, making sure I balance that time out. So it's like, it's a time thing,
Absolutely. And you just had an anniversary with your wife, right? Or I saw some posts like that on your page.
Yeah, we just be going. That was her birthday.
Oh, so, birthday, okay.
Yeah, we always go.
Well, happy birthday to her.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I got to make sure I take care of wifey. She come first, so got to make sure she's straight.
Hey, that's a nice car you had though too, with the butter with the. You know what I mean? I like that. That was nice.
Yeah.
So is there any other barber or stylist or even a brand that you personally would love to collaborate with?
A barber, man. I wouldn't mind collaborating with anybody. So I would say that, like, anybody that's good, that's for the people, man, and all of that, that's doing the right thing. Like, I'm with that. I'm with doing the right thing and all of that. The brand, my favorite brand, I can't even, like, I mess with Blessed Capes. That's my guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I watched him grow and do his thing. So, like, anything with him, a brand, like, I hope he go to the moon with what he got going on. So, I see him doing his thing. I seen him before he even opened up a shop, when he was playing football with that big head, to now, being where he at, cutting hair, getting high-end clients and stuff. doing his thing to now opening up his own shop, and it's he sells clippers, tools, and things like that, and he got his own line, Blessed Capes, and it's been taken off. You see it on all of the top barbers and all of that. I guess influential barbers, things like that. So if I can collab with anything, it'll always be him first. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's my guy.
Shout out to him then.
Yeah,
That's amazing. So
yeah,
you said he sells like barber equipment, like all
yeah.
the
He sell
stuff.
tools, barber clippers. He sell aftershaves, whatever you can think of in the industry. And he's working on selling the mats, barber mats and stuff like that. And then he's a good guy. You know what I mean? So I just want the best for him. Just watching him grow and watching him do his thing and being a part of Spotlight for years, man. And seeing where he at right now, I wish him the most success. Little bro, go to the top, baby.
Absolutely.
I'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, because we're gonna get a little towards the end a little bit, if there was a lesson or something you would tell yourself when you were 13 versus who you are now, what piece of advice would you give young Myron?
Man. Whew. I'd probably just be like, take care of your health. That'd probably be my biggest advice, right? Like take care of yourself, take care of your body good, so that you can last long. So I if I can give myself any advice, that right there, because I believe that you got to look out for you first before you can, look out for others and do stuff. And sometimes you can overwork yourself and not be ready for stuff, man, and you not working out, body not in shape, and you get yourself sick, eating the wrong foods, things like that. So I felt like if I could tell myself anything, young Myron, like just take care of your health, take care of your body, probably read more, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But I've always done a lot of these things. So, I don't know, I was just
Just more of it.
Yeah, I was different as a kid, man. I felt like, honestly, from the time I can remember, I always felt like, and my aunties and my mom them tell me this too all the time, like I was just different. I always was like a grown little kid,
Absolutely. So, and then lastly, before I let you have the floor to promote anything you got upcoming for the rest of 2025 or into 2026, what advice would you give to someone who wants to become a barber? I mean, they either are about to go to school or they just graduated from school and they really want to get into it and they want to do it the right way, but they haven't had the proper guidance from someone yet. They're doing this on their own. Right. So what is, like, if someone was watching this, what kind of a guidance or advice would you give?
The advice that I would give is just always come into it and think about the people that you're servicing. Realize that, this is a service industry. Be a hard worker, look out for the people, try to do your best. And don't put no pressure on yourself, man. Let it flow, and really want this. Make sure that this is something that you want to do and you're not in it for the money, because the clients can see it. You got to look at yourself as you were a client at one time and you were getting your hair cut, and put yourself in that client's shoes when you become a barber. And make sure that this is something you really want to do, because this is not something that's for the weak. This is something that's for somebody that really want this. You could be successful from it. You're not going to be rich. It might be a small percentage that get rich, but you'll be able to take care of your bills. You'll be able to take care of your family. You'll be able to eat good. You'll be able to experience a lot of things that you would normally get to experience. The freedom of schedule, learning how to manage that. So make sure that you know that you really want this. It's something that you really want to do, and not something that you're doing for the money. So that would be my first thing, that even if I opened up a school, are you doing this for the money, or are you doing this because, this is something that you want to do? These are questions that I would ask. So ask yourself that before you get into the industry, man.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So like I said, however time you want to take, the floor is yours to share anything you got upcoming.
Okay.
Take your time.
All right. So I'm opening up Spotlight Salon and Suites in Fair Oaks, in Carmichael, California. I'm looking for barbers and stylists to join the team. Just reach out to me, DM me, Spotlight Hair Studio. That's my Instagram. That's my Facebook. My name, Myron Miller. Even that, you can DM me, get with me, send me a message. Man, let's go to work, man. Check me out. I think I got the TikTok and all that. I'm trying to learn all this stuff, y'all. You know what I mean? I'm figuring it out. So just get with me. My number 916-680-0910. You guys can text me. Make sure that we get in and get you working, man. I got a nice little spot set up, and I'm looking for the best, man. So come on in and join the team. Big spotlight.
Absolutely. I hope y'all join, man. Before I give this outro, man, I just want to shout out to the homie X-Rated James right here, man. Appreciate you, brother, for doing the camera work. You know what I mean? We definitely needed that.
He did a good job, man. He did a good job, man. I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming. Let's clap it up for you, man. Thank you for coming in.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate you for coming by, boss.
One love, man.
I appreciate you. I mean, I knew I had to get you in because it's like, obviously, anybody can be what they are career-wise, but I think who you are as a man and the things you do outside of just cutting hair is, I feel like, what makes you different and what makes you special to like be like, oh yeah, I wanna fuck with dude to bring him on here and let's talk shop.
Man, I appreciate that. So and you've been coming through messing with me too. That's why I was like, I ain't gonna let him down, man.
I appreciate you.
And listen, this is people interviewed me, right, and it never came out. But this is the first podcast that I've actually was able to do that I was like, I felt good about. So I appreciate you, man, for bringing me on.
Oh, absolutely. I don't want to make everybody feel good. You know what I mean? I want to make everyone feel comfortable when they come in here. Obviously, usually be my co-host, but he's out of town with his old lady and the baby in Fresno. But
family first, man.
Absolutely. So, but no, I knew from the jump I wanted you on here because it's just anybody could do what they do. But it's the way you do it that makes me be like, yeah, I need that. Because like I said, I don't really go into barbers like that.
Right.
I'll go in every once in a blue moon if I really need something done to look good for like my birthday or something. Give me some stupid. This was episode 31 with Mr. Myron Miller. Our next episode is going to be November 15th. That'll be an episode with just me and Kuya Flip talking the shit, talking about current events, whoop-de-whoop. And then, but after that, though, our guy X-Rated James for episode 33. So we going to do that November 29th. This will be posted probably tomorrow or just later on this week because, Kuya Flip got to edit some of the stuff from the beginning before we really got into the episode. So this will be released this week. I'll tag you, you know what I mean? We'll make sure we do what we need to do on the social media side of it. But this was episode 31. Hope you guys have a beautiful Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you.